Hi friends, before I start, help me figure it out. Some people write in the comments that they can't hear me well, that the sound is quiet. On my devices, I can hear myself very well. How do you hear me? Please give me feedback below. Thanks in advance. The fight between BIVOL and BETERBIEV is a story that has been awaited for a long time. This confrontation already has a rich history. It resembles a real TV series with interesting scenarios, twists, and intrigue. Some are still not sure that the top boxers will finally meet in the ring, and it was in Saudi Arabia that they were able to turn the fairy tale into reality. This fight has been the dream of all top promoters for a long time, but there were always obstacles on the way that seemed insurmountable. It was about fees and conditions and the interests of the athletes themselves. The guys are unlikely to be ready to lose such a remarkable zero in the defeat column. And Artur's record looks outstanding also because he invariably knocked out his opponents. It is for this reason that such a confrontation unfortunately will deprive one of the boxers of such a grand legacy. Guys, I remind you that I made 2 video releases about this fight with detailed analysis and prediction. I sort everything out that you have no doubts about the winner of this confrontation. The links will be below in the description. Please follow and go watch. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. Saudi Arabia has become a magnet for all the top boxing on the planet, and most importantly, they don't skimp on money there. And if earlier fighters could still think about offers, now promoters simply do not leave such a chance with their generous offers. There is no doubt that the organizers have once again written out impressive fees to the main stars. And now it is very important to prepare yourself for the confrontation in optimal condition. There is less than a month left until the fight, but the fans are still waiting for. They understand perfectly well that even a fully agreed and appointed fight was once postponed. At the same time, Saudi Arabia knows exactly how to make boxers go into the ring and fulfill their obligations. The story of how Tyson Fury got caught and was unable to go out to fight Alexander Usyk on the first try is fresh in our memory. A little later, it became known that their organizers came up with a serious punishment if the fight was cancelled a second time due to the fault of the Gypsy King. Most likely a similar situation is with BIVOL and BETERBIEV. The event is too long awaited for the promoters to easily abandon the idea of holding it. The fees in this fight look like another story, since no specific figures have been named yet. At the same time, some internet websites assume that the guys will not receive the greatest money. In their opinion, BETERBIEV, as the owner of 3 belts, will receive $2 million and BIVOL $1 million. On the other hand, is this really more than what the guys received during their careers? But we must understand that the status of this fight is completely different. The fight for the absolute championship most likely will have a completely different price. Of course, it is not even worth thinking about the fact that the guys will come close to the amounts that Fury and Usyk received. And if you are watching this video, you are undoubtedly looking forward to this fight. So what are your predictions for the fight? Whose side are you on? Please share your opinion. I'm waiting for your in the comments. Artur is already 39 years old, and thoughts about the potential end of Beterbiev's career involuntarily begin to creep in. It seems that the fight with Bivol could be his last in his professional career, and now there is news that only reinforces this thesis. Dmitry talked to boxing social journalists and told several interesting details that can be found in the contract they signed before the fight. It became known that the guys did not include the option of a rematch, but before many high-profile fights, this condition is almost mandatory. But Bivol and Beterbiev did without it. Could the fight with Bivol be Beterbiev's last? Perhaps yes. Artur has already had 20 professional fights. He's undefeated with an ideal percentage of knockouts. And if Artur adds another finish to his collection, he may well think about a beautiful exit. Then Beterbiev will leave professional sports undefeated and will forever go down in history as a great knockout artist. And Artur will no longer need to prove anything. He will become an absolute champion, and this is the greatest achievement for any boxer. Of course, you can always potentially think about moving to another weight class, because some people collect all the belts in different divisions, but at 40 it will be incredibly difficult to pull off such a trick. But there is confidence that Artur will be forced to stay in the business by defeat. It seems that Beterbiev simply will not tolerate misfires, and he will literally chase a potential rematch with Bivol. Of course, Artur himself can try to cover up the defeat with other position. The task will be precisely to finish his career on a high note, and there are plenty of guys in the division with whom you can achieve this goal, and there will be a lot of people willing to fight with Artur. There is no doubt about it. There is a feeling that the results of the upcoming fight will directly determine whether Beterbiev will remain in professional boxing. If Artur wins, he may well retire at his peak. He has achieved almost everything. All that remains is to make a beautiful final touch. But if Beterbiev loses, he is unlikely to allow himself to retire just like that. Therefore, it will be interesting to see how exactly this story ends. Would you like to see a rematch or even better a trilogy of this confrontation? Please write your thoughts in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. So let's figure out whether Beterbiev's previous opponents were so good, where there are any boxers of Bivol's level among those whom Artur defeated. Callum Smith, for example, whom Beterbiev defeated in his last fight, had previously been outclassed by Saul Alvarez, and Alvarez himself was taken to boxing school by Bivol. Let's move on. Before Smith, Artur boxed with Anthony Yarde, the eternal British near top. In 2019, Yarde was knocked out by a jab from 36-year-old Sergey Kovalov, who had long since passed his peak, and in 2020 he lost to Lyndon Arthur, who Bivol turned into a punching bag. By the way, before the knockout in the fight with Yarde, that is after 7 rounds, Beterbiev was losing on the judges' scorecards. Joe Smith was defeated by both Bivol and Beterbiev. Both did it in their own style. Artur knocked him out in the second round, and Dmitry made another declasse in the ring. Marcus Brown, who was beaten by Beterbiev before Joe Smith, lost to 36-year-old John Pascal, and Pascal in turn was beaten by Bivol, Kovalov, and many others. Adam Danis, whom Artur met in 2021, was hardly known in the world of professional boxing. Perhaps the most serious opponent in Beterbiev's career was Alexander Gvozdyk, with whom he had a unification fight in 2019. Artur won the 10th round, but it is worth noting that Gvozdyk put up serious resistance to Artur, had an excellent first half of the fight in which he worked from a distance and did not allow Beterbiev to get to him. Yes, and the second half of the fight, Alexander got physically tired, which Artur took advantage of, but at the same time, Gvozdyk was leading on the judges' scorecards after the ninth round. If Alexander had had enough functional training for the entire fight, then Beterbiev could well have lost that fight. And what Gvozdyk lacked, Bivol has phenomenal functional training. There is no doubt that Dmitry is ready to work in his usual style and at his usual pace for all 12 rounds, especially in the most important fight of his life. One of the best boxers of our time, Saul Alvarez, has already faced Dmitry's underestimation and was simply shocked by what was happening in the ring. Bivol did not allow the Mexican champion to do absolutely anything, winning a sensational victory. Beterbiev should not repeat Canelo's mistakes and have even a drop of underestimation of Dmitry. There have never been opponents of Bivol's caliber in Artur's career, and the upcoming fight will be the most serious test for Beterbiev in the professional ring. Do you agree with me that this fight will be the most difficult for Artur? Or were the fights from those I listed more serious? Write your opinion in the comments. I will definitely answer everyone. I want to believe that there will be no big problems with organizing the fight, and then professional boxing can become the best fighter not only of the century but in all of history. The main thing is that the script writers of this film do not come up with a new twist. Artur is already 39 years old. A new breakdown of the fight can be fatal. And then the fairy tale is such, and their consequences an unrealizable dream. Stay safe, stay tuned. Friends, that seemed in